Two men journey to the bars and restaurants of Scandinavia to find amazing beers, always with the same question.
Hey, what's on tap?
It's time to find out.
What's on Tap podcast, back on track.
Are you still here?
We're still here.
I'm asking the listener.
Of course they are. They wanted to see what the next two beers in the Moersleutel 5th anniversary dinner party will be.
Exactly. And if you are a listener who doesn't listen consistently, last week we started on the Moersleutel 5th anniversary beers by having an appetizer and a starter.
Exactly.
That's correct, right?
Right. And we had the paper.
We did not have an appetizer and a starter. We had aperitif. Wait.
Yeah. We had an aperitif and we had a starter.
Yes.
So.
Yes.
But then the starter is also an appetizer, right?
Yes.
That would be the same thing.
Yes.
Yeah. So good. And that was rock and paper.
Yes. And
now we have scissors and Spock.
Yeah.
Right. So the scissors is an amuse buche, which is a West Coast double IPA at 8%. And it says, after the starter, we neutralize our palate with a bitter and citrusy West Coast double IPA made with Cascade, Citra, Centennial, Columbus, and Chinook hops.
Yes, because this is the reason why I'm confused is because this beer, when it comes to theme, this is where they kind of lose me a little.
Yeah.
So the aperitif was a sour, super easy drinkable. That's you're still standing in the. You've just arrived and you got here's a welcome drink. That's that one, and the starter, sure, an IPA. But the amuse bouche is supposed to be, when it's a dinner, it's such a small morsel of flavor. Like it's this is just to pique your interest for the next course, and we're going with double IPA, right?
Well, we went from a New England double IPA to just a straight up double IPA.
Yes, so they are increasing. That's good for a beer tasting, and this is the correct place to have the double IPA in between the IPA and the next beer.
Yeah.
But it's not an amuse bouche.
So what you're saying is this should have been a lower ABV?
Or a sour or something that just goes poof. And then
something like maybe like this would be a good time to have like a Pilsner or just something kind of light.
Actually,
and
yes.
Crisp as opposed to.
It's not a palate cleanser. It's more just pique your interest, and then there's nothing more. I mean, it's basically a one bite treat.
So instead of using, I think there's 5 hops in this, maybe use a single hop.
Maybe.
I don't know. Also been another interpretation of it.
I'm way over analyzing this, but they are the ones who made this into a dinner.
Yes, I'm also curious as to what we'll get next year. What will the sixth dinner item be? Is it soup course, you think, or will it be a course in between dinner and dessert?
Maybe.
Or maybe there's a course after dessert.
Yeah, so we.
Maybe there's a cheese plate afterwards.
Cheese plate is a good one,
yeah.
But we've had the aperitif, so we might as well include the digestive.
Yeah, could be the digestive.
Which you would have together with like a small cognac or something,
yeah.
Which could be the digestive.
A cognac barrel-aged.
Not a bad idea.
Yeah. But this is a drop in alcohol percentage because the last beer we had was 8.5%. Now we're down to 8%.
Okay.
But then we pop back up in the next beer, in the dinner course. It gets quite intense with the 12%.
Fair enough. So let's smell the scissors.
It's hoppy. It's I can't really discern any particular type of hops, but
it smells. Is this West Coast? It is.
Yes.
Because I was just about to say this does not smell like a New England.
No, this is which is nice.
But it's not very see-through. It's not murky looking, but it's not the traditional West Coast.
Yeah, it's not super clean, pure, filtered. This is more like an unfiltered IPA, West Coast IPA. But color-wise, I mean, you're getting that caramel kind of look to it. So
exactly,
it's there.
Caramel and malts is shining through in the aroma. It does smell more like a hoppy Hoppy Pilsner, I almost said. But a hoppy malty beer.
Yeah.
And that's why old American double IPAs turned into barley wines when they got some age,
Very
because
true.
the hops disappeared.
True.
Let's try it. Cheers.
Cheers.
We'll see if it tastes the way it smells.
Yeah, it's quite pleasant. It is kind of a palate cleanser in that way that it's light, refreshing. There's a bit of a caramel, slightly bitter finish to it.
There's a side flavor that is almost a little. It's not sour, but a little tangy. Is that just like citrus from hops?
Probably,
because
yeah.
it's quite powerful, tangy side flavor.
It's probably the combination of maybe the citrus, Centennial, Chinook kind of West Coast hops that they're using here.
Maybe.
Gives it a little bit of a extra flavor to it.
Yeah.
But it's quite nice. It falls into that category of it's really nice, but I don't really have a lot to say about it.
No.
Because there's really not much to discuss here.
It fades really quickly. I'm afraid this will be a little bit forgettable.
Maybe, but I find it very drinkable at the same time. I think, again, this is another beer where I was like, if I just had this and was just opening up a can and having it on its own, I would not be disappointed by this.
No. Exactly. If I just bought a double IPA, I would not be disappointed if this is what I got. But by now, the Moersleutel has to be up there with the most reviewed breweries on this show.
Oh, yeah, easily.
And we've had some beers from them that were truly magnificent. Epic even.
That's true, but they've mostly been stouts.
They're mostly been stouts.
Their IPAs have not been as on point as their stouts are. As a matter of fact, we pretty much only used to buy exclusively stouts from them because that was what was so readily available in the market. And it's not been until probably the past year or two that they've really, I wouldn't say that a year or two, but maybe the last 6 to 8 months even, that they've started putting out more IPAs.
That is true. In the beginning, we only bought bottles, like motor oil and smear oil and stuff like that. It was only bottles, and it's when they started heavily canning. That's when we also started getting some double IPAs.
Yeah.
But we've had some really good ones. You've brought some really good ones to some tastings we've had, and I remember ratings that were for double IPAs and IPAs that were way higher than what I'm going to give this.
For sure. I'm actually going to give this a 3.75, just like the last one. I think it's quite nice. It hits all of the points I'm expecting. It feels like a West Coast double IPA, or at least a European take on what a West Coast double IPA is.
Yeah, I'm actually going to round it up to the 4.
Okay.
But that 4 is really weak.
All right.
But that's because I've given beers that tasted exactly like this 4s not that long ago. So I'm trying to be consistent.
Well, that's good.
In the grand scheme of things, is a 3.8 or a 3.9 or somewhere there.
Yeah. I mean, it's one of those things where if I could grade it on a 10-point system, it would go up to 0.10. It would be 3.8, 3.9, somewhere in there. Yeah.
I will happily round it up.
Yeah.
Because then the next beer will be nicer to me.
All right. And this is Spock, the dinner course, a pastry stout at 12% ABV. So a most decadent dinner is served with 5 type of grains and our favorite adjuncts. Okay.
What are their favorite adjuncts?
I'll get to that. I see it now. Together creating a dark, rich, intense pastry stout. So if you're going to guess, let's see, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 adjuncts listed. If you had to guess 3 of them, what would you guess?
Vanilla?
Yes.
Cocoa beans? Cocoa nibs?
I'll just give you chocolate as a...
Okay, fair. That's
okay.
pretty much what I meant. Not maple.
That's 3. Do you want to guess the other 2?
Now it gets a little bit trickier.
Mm-hmm.
Coffee?
Yep.
Oh,
And
I didn't want the coffee maple beer. Okay,
And?
what's the last one? With coconut?
it exists. Exactly. Wow, you got all 5.
I got all 5.
It's roasted coconut, to be a little more specific. But yeah, you got all 5. I am really impressed by your guessing there.
I just went by the 5 most standard.
Yep, 5 most
pastry
standard.
stout ingredients. I wanted to say like sprinkles,
Yeah.
ice cream sprinkles, and
Or marshmallow or something.
marshmallows.
Yeah. It smells really good, though. It smells.
It smells all over the place.
Yeah, yeah.
I think it was a mistake to include coffee in this one.
I think it was a mistake to include maple syrup in this one.
I'm very much not certain about the maple syrup coconut combination that some brewers have made.
Like this is,
Just let coconut live by itself
I
with
think
vanilla and
coconut
maple barrel.
chocolate
That
is,
works.
is really great. I think maple syrup in beers, I can't say I have too many positive experiences with maple in beers. I think that it gets a little lost and it tends to dry the beer out quite a bit in the aftertaste. So I have really should be mixed feelings about this beer going in, but it smells very roasted. Like it smells like they really roasted those malts pretty hard because there's a lot of roastiness on the nose here.
I like roasty beers.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not a fan of this aroma. I'm also going to do a 1 year flashback. I understand why they did a pastry stout as dinner because they wanted to be chewy and thick and creamy, whatever. But an imperial stout will never be dinner for me. It is more of a dessert thing. But I understand why they did it, and I said the exact same thing when we had the 4-year anniversary beers on the show.
I mean, if you were going to do a dinner pairing, it's almost impossible because this beer is so heavy and there's so much flavor that I almost don't know what you would pair it with as a dinner course.
And that's why I did the flashback, because we said exactly this. This is not a pairing to dinner. This is a substitute for dinner.
Right.
Because what else would you put? What beer would be dinner?
Like what? Well, I mean,
it needs to be thick.
Well, if you look at the way that they've done this, which is a alcohol progression, because just like the previous year, the last beer is a crazy over the top high ABV beer. So it's more of an alcohol progressive dinner course that we're getting here. So we're at the penultimate moment of that experience.
Yesterday, I actually drank a strong bourbon barrel aged double bock.
Ooh.
That might actually be more of a representation of dinner, more of a substitute for dinner than what is obviously dessert in front of us. The only reason this is not a dessert is because the dessert beer coming in the next episode is going to be crazier.
It is.
And they can't have 2 desserts.
True.
And no dinner.
Exactly.
But there has to be some kind of beer. You get what I mean, like a bourbon barrel aged double bock. It fits the space.
Well, maybe that's where we'll get the
next year.
The digestive course next year. All right.
Maybe.
Well, cheers.
The aroma is. I'm very scared now.
For me, it just smells like a really rich roasted stout with no adjuncts. I don't smell any of the adjuncts on the nose. Maybe a little bit of chocolate, but again, the roastiness is kind of so overwhelming that it kind of covers up everything.
Vanilla is very subdued. Coconut is peeking out.
Mm-hmm.
Coffee. The coffee and the maple syrup gives it a slightly sour.
Kind of a tanniny flavor to it. I got that too. The aftertaste, I do get chocolate and I do get maple.
The darkest of chocolates and the syrupiest of maple.
I would say overall, surprisingly, you do taste all 5.
The flavor was way better than the aroma on this one.
Mm-hmm.
I built up my low expectations by just smelling it.
Yeah.
It still doesn't smell very good.
No, it doesn't smell very good at all. I mean, it just smells roasted, like hard roasted malts.
Yeah.
For me.
And then a mess of ingredients.
Yeah.
But they do pop out individually while sipping it. So that's pretty nice. That's not that common with multi adjunct pastry stouts.
Now, usually you get 3 of the defined adjuncts at most. To actually be able to kind of pick out each 5 through a different process of, like, there's the front notes, and you have the kind of the mid notes, which gets a little bit of that tanniny sourness to it, and then the aftertaste is just like this richness all over your mouth that's just like in your teeth, and it's just like maple and coffee and chocolate, and it's really nice.
Exactly.
I would say coconut is probably the one adjunct that if it was removed, you wouldn't miss it at all. I don't feel that it's really adding anything, but it's kind of slightly there in the front part.
Yes, it peaks out very start and then just is overshadowed by everything else. And when we are at different beer tastings around the world, as globetrotters that we are, whenever we drink a multi-adjunct pastry stout, what we usually hear is, oh, I'm not feeling the vanilla. Oh, I'm not feeling the coconut. Oh, this is overshadowed by that. Oh, that's exactly what brewers are inviting themselves, that kind of critique, when they do multi-adjuncts.
Exactly.
Some adjuncts work so well together. Like vanilla bounces off different things.
Yeah, vanilla works much like, say, sugar and salt. It's a flavor enhancer in a lot of ways.
Yeah. But coconut and coffee is not a good combination.
Well, they went toasted coconut. That way it kind of helps cover up some of the... Honestly, I wish they'd gone more raw coconut, because I think that would have really popped that coconut flavor in a lot harder. And when you toast it, it just... when you've already got something that's so hard roasted, to add in like the toasted coconut, you're just burying the coconut under all the other more dominant rich flavors. Because toasted coconut on its own tastes really good, but when you're trying to bring out a coconut profile, it becomes really subdued because you're getting mixed in with the other roasted notes that are coming through, which are much more prevalent here.
Yeah.
But having said all that, I'm still going to give this a 4.25.
I am on the strong 4 side. Here I might be rounding down. The aroma...
The only thing really is you're right, is the aroma. That's what's kind of hurting it. But I find that, like, overall the beer is just really nice. It's got that, and when you kind of roll it in the glass, it's got this nice syrupy kind of
and that
coloring on the glass, and
that also happens in the mouthfeel, which makes me happy. I just... Well, maybe some of our listeners were sitting here like, oh no, it's a mess. The ingredients are fighting with each other, and we still give it 4 and 4.25. So it's not a bad beer by any stretch of the imagination, but it's too much of a battle of the flavors.
There's a lot going on, and I think this is where a little restraint could have taken it. Basically, a really good beer and just completely made it phenomenal. But overall, I still quite enjoy it. I'm going to give it. I think that the fact that you were able to pick out all of the 5 adjuncts pretty clearly really says a lot about the beer and the quality of the beers too.
I'm still a fan of coffee stouts, but I'm getting to the point where I want them to be coffee stouts, period. I don't want coffee to be added with any other adjuncts.
You don't want coffee maple chocolate stouts?
No. Vanilla is the only adjunct I want combined with coffee, and that'll make it a coffee beer. Now, the coffee part is actually what's dragging it down. It ruins the coconut, it ruins the maple, it ruins the chocolate.
I think it adds an extra layer of bitterness to the beer itself.
I didn't want that extra layer of bitterness in this stout. I want it in other stouts that are coffee stouts.
Yeah, no, I'm still sticking with my score.
Yeah, I'm not trying to convince
I feel you're trying to convince me, talk me down, but it's not going to happen, sir.
No, I would never try to talk you down.
I know, I'm just messing with you.
The only thing I would talk you down from is a ledge.
Thanks, I appreciate that.
Yeah, I got you.
Okay, well, let's just wrap this up then. You can find us online at what'sontappodcast.com, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Spotify, and wherever you can find fine quality podcasts, you can find us there as well.
Yeah.
So until next time.
Keep drinking, you dum-dums.